I told you so.
I I really thought these three picks
Oh,
were going
that's
to
so
beat that
funny.
entire series.
Just so everybody knows, off camera, we had this conversation, and Don said that Zelda's music is medium. It's okay. It's not great. I said he's wrong, and thank you all for proving me right.
That's funny.
Welcome to the Cable Club. We are a retro game podcast where usually three guys walk into game shops and figure out what haul we can find, but today it's just the two guys, Don and Dan, and we actually had a great conversation that we had to record prior to this with retro game hunter Sprooch, or as we know him, Justin, and that's going to be the bulk of this episode. But before we do that, I'm going to set the mood for you.
Oh boy.
The year is 2025, and you're playing your Switch 2 and your Xbox, I don't know, what is it now? Series X? Jeez.
Yeah,
PlayStation 5.
they're getting crazy now.
Yep, PlayStation 5. You're waiting on the PlayStation 6 because the PlayStation 5 was a bust. And just these new games, all open world, all quest driven, all, 100 hours to complete, and you're just getting sick of it all. And your friend calls you up and says, "Hey, I'm heading over to the local retro game store today." And you think to yourself, "Man, what a waste of time. What a jerk." And then you look back at your TV, you try to go back to your open world game, and you say to yourself, "You know what? I'm sick of this. I'm going to go outside today." You go with your friend to the retro game store. You walk in, there's a bell on the door. How novel. When was the last time you saw one of those? You open up the door, ding, ding,
Ding ding.
and you're immediately swept up by the aged 90s carpet and the smells coming from the cartridges that are decaying into the air.
Blown
And
in
you're
cartridges.
just met by shelf after shelf after shelf of memories that just take you back. And you reach for your card in your wallet and you start looking around, and you may have just found a new obsession.
It's perfect.
I think it's very apt. So today
Yeah.
we're going to talk about retro game hunting in 2025. If you've been following this podcast for a while, you know I do a little bit of collecting. I buy some stuff. I'll post some of it on our collections tab in Discord. But we're talking about it with a real pro today. But before we get into that, Dan, do we have a retro game? Do we have a question of the week?
We do. This one comes from our good friend Hux. He says, "What is the most iconic special attack or special move in all of video game history?"
This is an interesting one because the first person to windmill slam in our Discord threw down Hadouken from Street Fighter 2, and I think the question became, what move is more iconic than Hadouken? Because that was the mother of all throwdowns, because it's really hard for me to think of something else.
Yeah, it really is. That was the first one that came to my mind when I saw that in Discord, so I threw it down. And some of them are pretty close, I feel like. Like, I think Steve put down, like, the spin dash, I think it was.
The spin what?
The spin dash from Sonic. I mean, he sent, like, a clip or a GIF or something. It looked like the spin dash from Sonic.
Yeah, I mean, so the one that I'm going to bring, I guess, I don't know if it's a move necessarily, but I'm going to say Morph Ball from Samus.
Yeah,
I feel like it's pretty high up there.
Yeah, I do. I also see the Falcon Punch. Like, Who hasn't screamed Falcon Punch at the top of their lungs, like at least once in their life? Come
You
on.
haven't lived unless you shouted Falcon Punch
Uh,
and proceeded to hit something.
right?
I mean, I'm trying to think of other really iconic moves. I'm looking at Donkey Kong 64, and I'm thinking his coconut gun that fires in spurts. When he shoots you, it's gonna hurt.
Yeah. It's hard. Like, I don't know. Mario's got to have something, right? What about the
Not really. He's got his spin jump, but it's not even in every game.
what about the Fire Mario?
Oh, you know what's pretty good? There were a lot of Final Fantasy references, but jump, I think,
Yeah,
is a pretty like consistent one.
I almost actually put that in the Discord, but I
You almost
didn't.
put jump.
I was gonna put Jump actually. That's funny that you say that. But
People put stuff like Ultima and things like that, and I think that's more or less true. But I feel like jump is the one that sticks out to
yeah,
me.
I feel like it is because it's like I think it started in what, like 4 and up. Like Jump has been a staple. It might even have been 3. I don't even remember. But like, yeah, Jump is very iconic to the Final Fantasy series.
Would Link's little spin slash be like a good, like the one where he spins around?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, yeah, see, it's just like it's hard. Like Hadouken is just so up there. It's just like it's like you kind of like grabbing at straws. Uh,
Yeah,
I mean, one. I mean, this isn't. It doesn't come from a video game like per se, but one person said, Lysianthia said the Kamehameha comes to mind for iconic. It's purely not video game, but it is in some video games.
I would argue the Hadouken is probably more popular than that.
Yeah, I would say
Probably.
so too.
It's memed on in other games. Like Mega
Yeah,
Man X has
yeah,
Hadouken
yeah.
for
He has
like
a
no
Hadouken.
reason at
Yeah, yeah.
all, other than the fact they're both Capcom titles. And I feel like there's other games too that have Hadouken in it, or something that's Hadouken like that's
Yeah,
supposed to be Hadouken. I mean, the spinning bird kicks up there, but I feel like that's given it to Street Fighter again. Street Fighter just did this right.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. It was just so iconic back then that it just stuck.
I was even trying to think of another fighting game that would have
Well,
another
oh
move.
yeah, who was it? Give me a second here. Mikey Tsunami, like he had a good one. I feel like he said, for me, it's hard to choose between Hadouken, Falcon Punch, or the Scepter, aka Get Over Here, which is from Mortal Kombat Scorpion.
Yeah, you're right. That is a really big one. Yeah, that actually might give Hadouken a run
Yeah,
for its
I
money. I
would
feel like
do it. I think
everybody knows
so.
that one.
Get over here, like that. That's very iconic too.
Yeah, no, that's no touche, touche.
I don't know. It's something about fighting games. They just got those memorable, like even Falcon Punch. Like technically, that's a brawler type, which is some form of a fighting game. All these come from fighting games.
I like how they incorporated it into the anime too, and he like evaporated a fool in that.
Oh,
The one Falcon punch that he threw in that.
destroyed him. Yeah, I remember the one you're talking about.
Falcon
It's like
punch.
he's like jumping out of his car, going probably over 1,000 miles an hour.
It's a
that
good book.
Falcon, that Falcon Punch is gonna hit like a truck.
Well, it's kind of like when you're playing Melee and you dash dance moonwalk to jump across the stage and throwing
Yeah,
a spinning Falcon
yeah,
punch.
and you let one rip
Yeah,
midair.
you land that thing. It's amazing.
uh,
That's some flexing right there. All right. Do you have any moves that you want to submit to the table here? I'm just looking at my game collection trying to see if I think of anything else.
Honestly, no. Like I don't know how you could like top that, or I mean, anything that I would say would just be purely just for me just saying it.
I feel like
I would
most of
say
this,
X's charge shot, but like you could also say the same for Samus. It's like or Mega Man, not X, Mega Man's.
but I think it's one of those things you got to be familiar with Mega Man to
Yeah, exactly. Like
say
I
charge
just
shot to somebody.
right.
But
It-
Hadouken like transcends,
yeah, for
and so
real.
does the Scorpion thing, whatever he calls it.
Get over here.
Yeah.
I think that's what the move's actually called.
It is to me. All right, well, those are our answers or lack thereof. what other community answers did we have?
I mean, I was basically reading off most of them, but there's a couple I can still read here. Let's see here. Let me look. Omni Slash, and then Jun Jordan said, definitely legendary for 7. I was just trying to think of more of the series as a whole. So backing up, he basically said, if we want to go with a Final Fantasy theme, my first thoughts are Ultima and Giga Flare. Yeah, I mean those are up there. I feel like.
It could just be that I'm old, but I know Flare more than Giga Flare, or Mega Flare I know more than Giga Flare.
Yeah,
So I feel like Giga Flare was introduced later.
yeah, and then obviously like you got Holy, and then like Cianthia said, Firaga feels more commonly known than Flare or Holy, or at least Final Fantasy spells naming convention with A or Aga.
Yeah, that's fair. Yep.
Yeah, and then
What a
that's
what
basically
a
it.
really solid question. I think
Yeah,
just the funniest part was that slam of that first move and us being like, "Wow, that's the bar we're trying to reach, huh?"
yeah.
All right. So I just wanted to introduce our guest because we kind of it was very natural us coasting into this conversation with him. It doesn't really have a very good intro, so I just want to say again that we're meeting with Justin of Sprooch Retro Game Hunting. You know, and he's been doing this a long time. He's been doing this, I think he says, at least 9 years. You know, he's been hunting down games for great prices, and he's a reseller. You know, but seems to be an all around good guy. You can find his content on YouTube under Sprooch Retro Game Hunting. I found him on Facebook first, and then sub to his YouTube. So you know, go check him out if you're into these like antiquing type of find 'em shows like American Pickers and stuff. Yeah, he's like nerdy gaming American Pickers. It's that kind of itch. So just to see what he finds and where. And he's actually really local to the New England area, so very, very cool. So ready to get into that, Dan?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, we'll see you on the other side. I would not call myself a collector, definitely not on the level that you are, but I do have I'm looking at it right now, kind of like a reasonable size, like little collection over here.
Yeah, I mean, we all got to start somewhere.
Yeah, and like I'm
Forget what-
putting together either things I want to play or things that I have owned.
Yeah, and
You
that's
know?
that's the way to do it. Because when I first got into doing this,
Consoles too.
even really before I was like reselling anything, I literally kept pretty much everything that I didn't have, and I amassed a PS2 collection like insane because it was so easy to find. And at the time when I first got into it, going back 8, 10 years ago now, I think. Like it was still cheap. It was cheap at the time. And compared to what it is now or even post COVID. Um and I got to the point where I was just like, I'm never gonna touch 90% of this. And I just got into I didn't even really get into conventions right away. Like my buddy's mom was doing like a yard sale thing at a church and they were like, oh, they're looking for vendors, and I'm like, okay. So I started doing that, and then I ran into a guy who was doing my first toy show, and I was like, "Oh, what the heck? I'll do it." So my wife's like, "Yeah, go ahead," and I made like $2,000, and I was like,
Wow, impressive.
"Okay, we're gonna do this," And for a while, it was just a side hustle, and then, like I said, once COVID hit, and I started doing everything through eBay, and things were going for stupid money. And it just took off from there. And, ever since I've been doing eBay full time. I've done Whatnot. I'm doing, I haven't put anything up in a little while, but I was doing Encore, if you guys have heard of that one or not.
Yeah.
I haven't, but I'm taking notes.
Yeah. So check it. Encore is cool. It's kind of like a mix between eBay and Whatnot. Instead of just putting up a picture, you put up like a 30-second to a minute explanation of your item. You show it off, and then you put up for an auction from anywhere from 24 hours to a week, and then it runs that way. And it's a lot of fun. It's cool, but it's the same thing. You run an auction, or you can even run it as a buy it now. You can do whatever. But if you run it as an auction, I've sold $20 items for $3. It happens. It's just the chance you take, and the stuff I would put on Encore, I enjoy it, but I'm like, I do shows too, so I put stuff up on there, just something I've had for a while to get people in and whatever. And, on the other end of the aspect, I sold an item I bought for like, I was trying to sell for $10 and sold for 40. So, I mean,
Yeah, it
it's
works
all,
out
it's
in
all
your
a matter
favor
of,
too.
right. It goes both ways. So it
It's a
evens
little
out.
bit like owning a stock portfolio. Like you get some good buys, right?
Yep.
And you sell them high, and that's great. And I'm sure on the flip side of that, you've bought some games that are reasonably valuable, and then I don't know, a remake or a remaster or something comes out that's really accessible, and it just halves
Kind
the
of
value of what you had, right?
tanks it a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, one of the most recent games I did it with was one I was talking about earlier. Was Marvel vs. Capcom 2. That game
Oh
used
yeah.
all day long being on the PS2. It was like $150, $180 game. And then when they had the remaster come out, it tanked it to like, I think like $80. So it was still valuable,
Wow.
but it wasn't nearly as valuable as it used to be. But I mean, it's a great game. So I mean, like, stuff like that
Yeah.
should be.
So I have a question. I don't know if you'll know the answer to this. So like, say for example, you have like Silent Hill 2, and then you hear that a remake's coming out. Does prices change before like the game actually releases? Like if people hear about it, does that actually like make prices go down too, or right when the game drops?
It's usually not till the game drops,
Okay.
if at all, because when Silent Hill 2 came out, the the original didn't drop. If anything, it garnered more interest because it's not an exact port of it. It's a remake. Like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is not enough different about the updated version from the original to make you be like, oh, it's a completely different game. Silent Hill 2, for instance, on the PS5, well, the new version versus the original, you could almost say, aside from the storyline, that it's two completely different games.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
because there's just so much different about both. I think if anything, it made more people want to go back and play the original to see how it was versus the new version. So I mean, it's going to be on a game to game like difference um, that you run into because when they remastered like DuckTales on the PS3, there was a point in time that game spiked to be like I think it was like $75 to $80. Now it's back down to I don't know, like, I haven't looked at it in a while, like $25. But I mean, like just certain things, when movies come out, it spikes interest. Look at Deadpool. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
that game went to be $100+ game. It's now back down to like $30, $40 because it's still a game that was pulled from everywhere and you can't get it unless you get a physical copy. But it goes with anything, comic books, trading cards are a big one. If a player does really well, it spikes. They do bad, it
Oh
drops.
yeah.
You know,
My
so you can,
father-in-law is huge into that with his
yeah,
son. Like they're into all like the sport trading cards with
yeah.
like eBay
That's
and whatnot.
my other vice is
Sports
unfortunately
cards.
sports cards. I was into it actually before I got into gaming. I did sports cards. I did shows for about 20 years, and then I woke up one day and I was burnt out. And I sold off pretty much everything I had, minus like my personal collection. And then I started watching guys on YouTube, and I ran across the Game Chasers. And one of the episodes I ran across was when they were doing the Toy Chasers. There was a episode they did with like all GI Joes, and I was a big GI Joe guy when I was a kid, and it got me back into kind of wanting them again. And now on the other side of the wall that I'm looking at is my GI Joe collection.
Oh,
It's
that's
out everywhere.
sick.
So you
So
already kind of had a foot in the door. It sounds like with the with the cards. You said 20 years,
yeah,
and
so I mean, I go back to like when I was a kid doing it. Like I kept everything I had, and I didn't really start selling. I don't even know at this point. I didn't really start selling till probably in my early 20s. Was just selling stuff on eBay. At
Yeah.
that point, my late teens, early 20s, I was just selling anything that I didn't care for. But I didn't really sell cards for a long time because I was collecting them. Like I had stuff. I pulled the Tom Brady autograph out of the pack at 7-Eleven. So I
Yeah,
mean,
that's crazy.
now
I
that card's
know.
like a $5,000 card, but I don't have it anymore.
Yeah, so I'm not really all that knowledgeable with like the sport trading cards, but like I know like they come in like sets where it's like you could get like a Brady that's like 1 out of 10 or something, or 1 out of 1.
Yeah, so for the most part, it's packs. So they come in a box. The box has however many packs it could be. Is what was one pack? It could be 36 packs. And I mean, it's astronomical odds of getting something insanely amount. 9 out of 10 times, if you buy a box of cards for say $200, your return on investment's probably going to be an average of somewhere like 30% if you're lucky. If you hit that one big card, then obviously, you got a little bit of a payday coming. But
It's kind of like a scratch ticket almost.
it's exactly what it is. I don't do scratch tickets, I do sports cards. And I'm trying to get myself back out of it a little bit because it's nuts. And now that my kid likes Pokemon, it's kind of the same deal.
So, how long did you say you've been hunting games and like trading games specifically?
I'm terrible with time. I want to say it's probably been somewhere between I'd probably say 9 to 10 years, because I can kind of go on how like old my son is. He's gonna be 7, and I was doing it for at least 2 years before him. I got, if I could ever actually remember time frames on anything, I remember I picked up a Super Nintendo at I bought it off eBay just before I went down to Florida, and I bought it for like $40 with Mario Kart at the time. So I mean, it was probably about 9 or 10 years ago, and then I started going to the flea markets. But I would go to the flea market. I'd go to Seekonk Speedway at like 10 o'clock in the morning, but I would still find stuff, because there wasn't a million people looking for things, and I'd find it for like $3 to $5 or like $1, stuff like that.
And now when I hit up these forums and stuff or groups of retro game collectors, I feel like I don't even know if this stuff is real. That like people are just posting pictures of like, look what I got for $20, and it's like, a Chrono Trigger and the GameCube Pokemon games like all sitting on a bed, and I'm like, yeah, this guy said he had it in his attic and he never played it before. I'm like, it can't be real. It can't. It just hurts me so much.
I actually just probably about 2 weeks ago now, give or take, a buddy of mine I play softball with. I've been talking to him forever, and he's like, "Oh, I got all my stuff's at my mom's house from when I was a kid," and he's 6 years younger than me, so he was in that realm of the Pokemon stuff. So he finally calls me one day. He's like, "Dude, the stuff's at my house." I'm like, "Cool." So I go over and I start looking through it, and he's just got like a bin full of handhelds, and he had Pokemon Yellow, Silver, Blue, all the stuff that people are always asking for and looking for. And he's like, "I don't want it." He's like, "It's not doing me any good." He's like, "I want the money." So I told him, where I need to be for things, and he knows what I do, and we made a deal. He was happy, and then now I got to go buy his toys, all his childhood toy stuff, which is fine with me. But it happens. It's there are people out there who make it up, and you're like, "Oh, I found this," and it's like, no, you didn't. I remember what I found. I walked into Savers one day, and this woman in front of me who sets up at the flea market, she got a couple like Xbox 360s in the box, whatever. And I was like, "Oh, can I have one of those?" And she was like, "No." And I was like, "I buy them all the time, just whatever." So it wasn't worth the fight, whatever. I walk away, and I asked one of the guys that works there, like, "Do you have any other games or anything?" He goes, "I've got a bin full of like these carts," and I'm like, "I'll take a look." He brings me out.
Did you shoot that episode?
I did.
You?
Yeah.
Okay. Was that the one where you found like the Conker's Bad Fur Day and it was like
For
$14 or something?
No, it was
$1.99. Oh my god!
Wow.
I was like yelling at my screen during that.
Yeah. He just brings out like a milk crate, and it was full of NES, 64, Super Nintendo games, like $1.99 each. And I was just like, yeah. I was like, yeah, there's people that want these. And I just,
you drive a hard bargain.
Yeah. But I still go to that Savers like weekly. It's super hit or miss. They'll put stuff behind the case. They just had a loose copy, beat to hell of Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, the cart, and they wanted $70 for it.
Wow.
And I'm
Do you find mispricings like that at like Savers a lot? Because I assume they're just trying to get rid of it.
No, they. So I go enough where I've known enough people and I talk to them, and most of the time people are cool. They'll let you know if something's coming out. They'll let you know whatever. If you're nice to them, sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, let me go see if I got something," stuff like that. But they have also told me I've known one of the managers there, and she told me she's like they literally have like a system now that they look up almost everything that rolls through the back.
Wow.
So I mean, like once in a while you'll get lucky with stuff. The other day I actually just got. I only went once this week, but I found a copy of Laser Shoot Larry for $5 or something like that. I don't think it's quite worth what it used to be, but it was well worth the $5. So I mean, it happens. My buddy goes to another one, and he sent me a picture one day of a stack of NES games. He got $5 a piece, like Mike Tyson's Punch Out, Metroid, all that kind of stuff. So it all
Solid.
depends. It depends. Some days they throw a sticker on it and, call it is what it is. Other days they'll throw stuff behind the case and say it's worth $1 million.
Yeah.
So there was a couple of years ago, there was one of the savers in around here. They didn't even put it in the case. They put a printed out picture of a sealed Game Boy in the box, and they wanted $5 grand for it.
No
Excuse
way.
me?
I have a picture of
Wow.
it somewhere. And somebody had sent it to me, and I was like, no way. So I went and checked it out. And they're like, unless you're a serious buyer, they won't even talk to you about it.
Because sometimes I'll browse eBay and I use a site called Mercari sometimes, and I'm scrolling through and I'm like, man, I wish these listings had comments, because sometimes you see a listing and the price for it and you're like, for what?
Yeah.
Like, what
Yeah.
are you talking about? It's like
No.
$350 for two Pokemon, like loose Pokemon cartridges with like scratch labels, and you're like, they don't go for that when they're mint.
Yeah, no,
No.
thanks.
Well, that's like, the people that buy games off of like Amazon, like retro games off Amazon. If
Ooh,
you
no,
ever
the
search
prices.
prices on there, they're
Ooh,
insane.
yeah, it's bad. I mean, I'm willing to give, like, I have a couple retro game stores that I frequent around here, and I know the guys. I talk to them when I go in there, and I'm willing to have I'm willing to give a little slack, because I'm not like trying to flip them and sell them, right? If I
Yeah.
pay $10 more than I should for something, I'm generally okay with it at an establishment like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like at a Savers or like a Goodwill or something, I don't feel like that's the point of the business,
No, it's not. But that's
right?
kind of what it's become is just like everything else, like they're money hungry. And until you get a manager in it that just wants to move product, move stuff out of the back, they're going to keep doing it because people are eventually going to buy it. And then, it's going to go. So, like, my buddy just told me one of the savers in the area has a new manager, and he's the type that wants product to move. He wants it out the door. So stuff's been getting dropped, like $5-10. That's like, the other guy would have waited and put out for $50-60. So it's just all a matter of, how the company wants to do it, but everything's donated. All that
Yeah,
stuff's dropped
that's what I
off.
figure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like for the fact that they're putting it out for retail, and not giving you any kind of guarantee on it if it doesn't work or whatever.
Yeah, well, especially if there's like scratches and dings too.
Right.
Like I feel like that Moonwalker, like that just seems like it's pretty high for
Yeah, I
being
think
in
the
the
loose is
condition
like
that it
55
was.
bucks.
Yeah, it's like
And
what the heck?
it's not even worth trying to talk to somebody about it. Like there was
Well, they
one
probably don't
time,
even know too, right? Like the
right?
people working at Savers, they probably have no idea.
No, they have no idea. I remember one time I went to go get a copy of they had Double Dash behind the counter. They had it for $39.99, which in and of
Well,
itself isn't bad for Double Dash.
it's pretty good. I think it's an
Yeah,
$85 game usually.
something like that. Yeah. So the disc itself was scratched. There was no manual, and I was like, "Hey, is there anything they can do for it? Because if I even a $40 gamble on it, if it doesn't work, the case is worth like $20. I hoard all my cases anyway, so eventually I'll probably find another one. But the manager comes over and it still had a GameStop tag on it for $19.99. She goes, first of all, why is it higher than that price? So she's like, I'm going to give it to you for $10, and I'm like, sold.
Wow, awesome.
So, it happens once in a while, but you know what? Unfortunately, in this world, greed is taken over, and you know what? Everybody's got to make the buck, and I don't even go to Goodwill anymore because they send everything to their online site. It's not even worth going in there and looking around. Once in a while,
Oh,
you might find
true.
like a sports game, but I became pretty close to one of the guys over there, and I'd be like, hey, anything coming out? And he's like, no, they send everything because it all has personal information on it. They send it out, and I'm like, no, they don't. But
What?
whatever.
Yeah, you mean the Sharpie of like Mark written on it
Right? Yeah.
that brought it to school, you know?
But I'm like, look, obviously they're there to make a buck, and it is what it is. Stuff trickles through. You find it once in a while. Um, but I've gotten to the point. I go into Savers. I don't look just for video games anymore. I look for video games. I look for. I'll I'll look through the board games real quick. Well, I like look at the toys. I'll look through electronics real quick. You got to kind of broaden out it a little bit because trying to just sit on one item, it's tough,
Yeah.
especially in the world of like reselling. I got lucky that I kind of dabble in three areas with the sports cards and memorabilia, the toys, and then the video games. Every once in a while, I dabble out with like other little things here and there that I know what I'm looking for. But I tell everybody I was like, have like one real area of expertise, and then also know a little about a lot. Because you stumble across something like my buddy Greco. He goes after like cameras and stuff now when he goes to Savers.
It's
Interesting.
kind of neat.
And it's weird, but some digital cameras they go for good money, and it is what it is. It's good. I'm like, I personally don't because I don't know enough about it to get myself involved. And everything I do in this kind of stuff, I'm self-taught. I do a lot of research on things. I'm a big fan of getting like guides for things and reading through the guides, even if they're from the '90s and something that's older, just to kind of educate myself on things and get an idea of what's what. So
So, shifting gears a little bit, as a gamer yourself, I can't describe my own retro gaming habits to another person that in any way seems rational at all. But how do you feel? I mean, we're doing a podcast and we have to play the games that come up one way or another. How do you feel about emulation as a whole?
so if I have the ability to play the original, I'm going to play the original. Some emulated stuff I've played, it's slower and clunky. Um, for instance, I was trying to show my son, I think it was just one of the Mario games, and I got so used to how I play it, I can time things properly, but sometimes when it's emulated, it's like a hair slower.
Yeah.
So it doesn't hit when it's supposed to. So like I would run directly into a hole and he'd be like, Daddy, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I
So
swear to God, it's the
It's the
controller.
emulator. It's
yeah,
not me.
yeah, it's not me.
right. So I mean like emulation has its place. I'm okay with it. If you can't afford the games, no harm, no foul. As long as you're not, pirating everything. I mean, obviously most emulation is a form of piracy somewhere along the way. But you can't go to a Target, Walmart, most places and just buy a copy of Mario Brothers 3. You
Yeah.
know, so it's kind of a gray area because yeah, technically it's pirated, it's illegal to do. But on the other hand, you can't just go out and buy it unless you want to go buy the original system. You want to go buy the game, and it can get costly after a little while. I
Yeah.
mean, to get a proper working Nintendo, most places are charging what, $80 for one, give or take, 80 to 100
Yeah.
bucks. And I mean, a loose copy of Mario is going to cost you 20, 25 bucks. So, not everybody has that for one game. Because what if they just want to play a couple games? That's where like the Super Nintendo Classics were really nice because they played pretty smooth for most of them. But then you have your Retrons, which are also nice. I have a Retron 5 myself. It's
Same here.
nice to have to be able to play the retro games without having to have 6 systems set up. I mean, down here in the
Right.
basement, I got my systems, but up on my main TV, I don't. So it has its place, but at the same time, I personally am I'm I'm a physical media old school guy. So
Yeah, I'll play the originals if it's like readily available myself. Like I have no problem buying it. But like if it's just, super out of the way to like try to get it, then obviously I'll go like the emulation route
right.
for the
Yeah,
most
and
part.
I own a good amount of original hardware, which has kind of created its own problem and its own backlog. Um, and sometimes for the podcast, we come across a gem that I have researched pretty well and know it's on like my wish list somewhere, so it'll make me jump on it, and I will buy it. I will play it for original hardware. Another thing I put a good amount of thought into is the creeping price of modern gaming. Like I don't know if you're keeping up with Nintendo Switch 2 or any of that, but like physical copies of games for Nintendo Switch 2 are now going to go for up to $90.
Yeah,
I have
it's
seen that. Yeah.
crazy. It's
And
crazy.
when I think about that, I think a lot of people, when they look at, a physical collection of retro games, they think, oh man, that must be such an expensive hobby. But I don't know. Do you feel the same way? I don't know that retro gaming is necessarily any more expensive
I
than
mean, now with the rising costs of everything, I mean, a Switch 2 is what, $500? And then like you said, each game is anywhere from 60 to $90. It in the grand scheme of things, no, it's all a matter of what beast you want to feed. So like my son's been asking for a Switch too, and I'm like, there's no point in having one currently. One, there's not enough stuff out for it to make it worthwhile, and two, I'm not paying $70, $80 for another game that he might already have, or just an upgraded version of Mario Kart. Like one of my good friends, he has the Switch too. He's played the Mario Kart World, and he says he still prefers Mario Kart 8 over Mario Kart World. So
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
seems to be a pretty popular opinion.
it's got some cool stuff about it. Like he played it at Target, and I watched him, and I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. But at the same time, for what he wants to do, he can do with Mario Kart 8. And I already have a Switch, so he can hook it up to the TV, or he can set the couch and play it, whatever. And I was like, but maybe we'll get there someday. But right now, you have the PS5 if you want to play most of that other stuff because it's already on the PS5. He doesn't need to have another Switch too. So
And I think retro gaming with some supplementing, like I think of the exceptions to the rules, right? Like I think of the Chrono Triggers that are like, I don't know what, $250 to $300 cartridge, right? For every one of those, there's at least 10 Super Mario Worlds, Super Mario Karts, Super Metroids, right, that are really good games but go for a lot less money than
yeah,
your AAA title, right?
yeah.
So I feel like you can get pretty far. And when you come across a game like a Chrono Trigger that's really expensive, there's usually a new modern way to play that game that costs a lot less money. Like I think it's like
Well, it wasn't the
$15
same.
on Steam
That
or
was
something.
ported on what, one of the DS systems, right? Was it DS? It was almost
Yeah,
the same port, right?
Also kind of expensive though. It's like $150.
really.
Yeah, it's still
Well,
better than the. I mean, a complete. If you want to be a complete one, a complete Chrono Trigger is going to cost you what, $1,200?
Oh,
With
probably. Yeah.
you know,
my
I wouldn't even
God.
blink at that.
Oh, jeez.
I
I'm
sold
thinking
a
like,
graded one for 1400, I think, something like
Wow.
that.
So,
yeah.
you actually had your hands on one?
Yeah, so if you go back in my videos, a couple years ago, I bought this kid's, well, I say kid, he's my age, his childhood collection. And basically what happened was they kept all the boxes and put them away. And then they just kept the games out. So all the boxes were mint
Man, I
and
wish I did that as
crispy.
a kid.
I threw
And
all my cases in like a dumpster when I was like 20
I
years old because I
or
thought I
you're
was awesome
ripping
with
it
the split book of CDs for all my
you're
games,
ripping
and
it
I
open. You're ripping open the box with your teeth and stuff.
yeah,
Like,
still hate
no.
myself for it. And like all
when
the
I bought the
manuals with it.
collection, when I bought the collection off the kid or off the guy, um, the Chrono Trigger itself still had the cellophane wrapping on it. So
Wow.
he had just literally just opened the side, pulled the game out, put everything back. The only thing that wasn't there was one of the posters because he hung it on his wall when he was a kid, but everything else was mint. And he had the copy of Chrono Trigger that I put with it. I ended up getting the map off of one of the guys at the random flea market, putting it with it, and then I graded it just because it was so clean. I'm like, I'm not an RPG guy, so I wasn't going to play it. Um, Graded games are kind of either be a bullet type thing. They can kind of go both ways. But I just wanted to preserve how it was, and then I ended up selling it to. Do you guys know who Travis Landry is? By chance?
No, no.
He's a pop culture specialist that's also on what's that auction show? I can't think of it.
Is it
But
Storage Wars?
no,
No.
no, he's an appraiser for it's on like one of those old people channels.
I think I know what you're talking
I
about.
can't
I'm
think of
drawing
what
a
it's
blank
called.
on it too.
But basically, people bring stuff and like, hey, what is this worth? And he's the pop culture specialist on that, and he's gonna yell at me for not knowing what it is because he's a friend of mine. But he has an auction company that's in the area, and he actually ended up buying it from me and putting it in his auction and selling it that way. So we got into some other good hands, but it was an expensive piece. But out of that same collection, the only time I've even seen it, I had a mint complete copy of Mighty Final Fight on the NES.
Wow.
Neat.
Yeah,
I was tempted to keep it, but I was like, I can't.
Yeah, anything like that expensive, yeah, no way I'd be playing it. Like
No.
you would just be like downgrading it or degrading it.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, definitely. As much as I love Chrono Trigger, that's staying in the box.
Yeah, see, so that's another thing that seems to circulate around these forums too, is that people will pick up these EverDrive cartridges.
Yep.
And they'll have these massive collections, but the EverDrive cartridge is the thing that stays in the system and they actually play with. And I think it's because, they're afraid of ruining their actual collection or something like that. And
Yeah, I
while
don't
we're
blame 'em.
confessing our sins, I tried to get into like modding some of this stuff and soldering, so I was picking up some skills. And I've since gotten a lot better at it. I actually recently completed a project where I completely overhauled a Game Boy SP, put a like brand new screen in it, new like light up buttons and all that kind of stuff. It's awesome. I love it. But before that, I was just trying to change a battery in my Pokemon Emerald, and I completely detached one of the battery pads, and I'm pretty sure I burned some of the contacts, and I think I've ruined a $300 cartridge because it was in good shape before I did that to it. And I keep it as an aspiration. Maybe I can fix it someday, but also as a reminder of what an idiot I was.
You
Well, you gotta start
test your
somewhere.
skills on something cheaper.
Yeah.
Yep. It hurts. It's really cool to have you on and talking about this stuff. I mean, I don't know a lot of people who also collect it and who go out hunting, so this is really fun for me. Before you go, I actually have a game for us to play quickly.
Okay.
Dan and I are going to test our skills against yours in a Price is Right style 5-round show here.
You're gonna make me look terrible. I'm terrible with the prices off the top of my head.
You can't be any worse than me. Trust me.
If this person did their job, I've actually not seen any of this either. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can look at this. All right, so the rules of this are fairly simple. What we're going to do is we're going to get an item up for bid. And Price is Right's fashion, we're all going to go in a circle and name our prices. And then we're going to look at the price. If you go over the price, you lose. But if you're close to the price, if you're closest to the price underneath it, you get a point.
All right.
Everybody's kind of familiar with that?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
I feel like, Dan, we got to get a Price is Right jingle going in the background here for this part of the show.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right.
You guys are going down. I don't collect, but you guys are going down.
Yeah, I told Dan to do some research for this,
which I didn't.
Our first item up for bid, and I'm told these are all price chart listings, so if you have a frame of reference. Our first item is Pokemon Fire Red for the Nintendo Game Boy Advance, complete in-box manual with the adapter. If you guys remember, that's a little infrared adapter. Back in the day, we used to have a link cable, youngins, before the internet, okay? We had to actually find our friends and plug our systems in to trade Pokemon, but this little guy let us do it, 3 feet apart, not touching each other.
Yep.
Wow.
And it's kind of a rare specimen today, I feel.
I've sold a couple of those, and when I had them, I didn't realize what they were when I sold them.
They had
See-
other applications too
Yeah.
later. So let's start with Justin. Go ahead. You go first. Because on my screen, you're like on top.
The sad part is I actually looked up one of these in March when I was in Chicago. And I can't remember what it was, but for some reason, with the adapter, I know it's a little more. I want to say 375.
375. Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, I wasn't gonna guess near that high.
All right, Dan.
I'm in trouble.
What do you got? What are you giving us for this, Dan?
I think I'm gonna go with a 275.
A 275.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go a little lower.
All right. Well,
I
think
don't have any reasoning for it, but that's my final answer.
I think Justin's high and I think Dan's low, so I'm going to go 276 just to invalidate Dan. 450.
My God, dude!
Oh,
Holy moly!
That's a little bit
Wow.
under.
Wow, that's an expensive game.
Yep.
In fact, I'll take Justin's deal on it. Justin, you got one of these for 375?
I do not.
I'll do that for you.
Yeah.
All right.
No, it's funny because like it says 450 price charting. I'd throw it out there at a convention probably for something like that, and I'd probably end up moving it to like 4 to 420 because people come up and they want a deal.
Oh, I feel like that's selling things online 101. You always go higher than what you want for it.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, the first message is always, can I get 25% off? So,
Yep.
all right, what do we got next? Next
That's
item up
crazy.
for bid.
Futurama.
I have never even seen this game.
Really, I saw a
Futurama
copy today.
for the PlayStation
Oh my
2.
goodness!
Tested, game disc, and case. So no manual. It sounds like.
Yeah.
So we'll rotate who goes first, so we can do that counterplay action together. So we'll keep going in order. Dan, you go first this time.
Okay. Like I have no idea, but it doesn't have the booklet. So I think I'm gonna go with 55.
It's so respectable because I feel like PlayStation 2 games are not that expensive either. Like as a body, there are some, but not many.
To be honest, I was gonna say around 50ish for Fire Red. So like,
yeah,
until I heard Justin say like 350, I was like, what?
I think I'm gonna go a little higher. I'm gonna go 110 because I feel like it's one of those weird cases where the game is actually much rarer than I think it is.
So I'm going to say this right now. If either of you have a copy of that for either of what you said for prices, I will buy them right now.
he knows.
Okay. So, funnily enough, I actually saw a copy of this today for sale, and I debated on it because this is one of my grail pieces at this point. A buddy of mine actually got one at the flea market last year for $5.
Woo.
This game, if I'm just going off of what it says here, disc and case, so no manual, I would say 2.25.
Get out of here, dude. What the hell?
Complete, it's pushing 300.
All right, let's have a look. 260.
You can't get any closer than that.
The second point for Justin.
Wow. I figured this is how this was gonna go.
A graded price. Well, I had hoped so. A
This is one I wish
graded-
I'd bought years ago when I actually had the
graded price
chance.
for 2,200. Wow.
Yeah.
Next item we have up for bid. We have Shark Tale.
Disc
The
only.
DreamWorks Shark Tale Nintendo GameCube. Is this one of the movies, or
Yes.
is this
It looks
an
like
actual,
it.
okay?
The DreamWorks,
It's one
yeah.
of those movies that you can watch in like grainy, 340p if you're so inclined.
Disc
No,
only.
so this is a game that's based on the movie.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. This one's got to be jank. I'm gonna go with
Yeah.
$20.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Disc only.
Yeah,
But-
yeah. I'm gonna go $20 and kick it over to Justin.
I don't think it's one of the rare ones. I'm pretty sure it's not. I'm gonna say loose copies like $5.
Okay. $5 and $20. All right. Then I'll go with like $3 then.
$3.
Yeah.
I'm the one getting embarrassed here. I think my entire shelf is a ripoff. That's what I think. All right.
Listen, if you love it, then it's worth whatever you paid.
There it is. All right, Dan, you got that point. So 2 points for Justin, 1 point for Dan, nothing for me yet. Next item up for bid, the Punisher. For Sega Genesis. That puts you back in the hot seat, Justin. What's your price? Looks like loose, cleaned, and tested.
I actually was just playing this not long ago with my son. Not a game you should play with a kid.
On the Marvel versus Capcom collection?
Yeah.
That one?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a great game. It's an uncommon game. Loose cards I hate for Genesis, personally. I think I might be high on it, but I'm going to say 70.
Oh, wow. I'm going to go with 65.
Oh, man. That really puts me in a pickle. Then so I think it's probably a little bit lower. I'm going to go with 49 because Genesis games tend to be a little on the cheap side.
Oh, wow.
That's another point for Justin. Wow, 115, huh?
No, it's pretty pricey complete.
That's interesting because I thought it would be lower because of the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 collection and it just being out there on a modern system. I thought I was going to get away with that.
Yeah, the NES version's not too bad. I have that complete.
Oh, neat. There's an NES version.
Yeah.
Next item up for bid. I think this is the last one, number 5. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time for the Nintendo 64. Cart only, authentic. Hopefully.
I
Dan.
I hate going first. Ocarina of Time. I think there's a bunch of those. Really, I don't know though. Screw it.
Well, you really didn't do any research like I told you to if you didn't look at this one.
I didn't. But I feel like this game isn't like that super rare. So I don't know. I'm gonna go with 40. That's probably way off, but
stole my answer again, you scum. I'm going with 35. I feel like I see this one in the game store all the time. I'm going with 35 on this one.
You too. It's a common game, but it's extremely popular.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with 55.
55. Oh, we all busted. 32.
Wow.
The lenticular version is higher.
Which is the
there's a collector's version. It's got the it's gold cart with the lenticular cover. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's 2 versions of it. This is the cheaper of the 2. Which really kind of had to show most people push it to a little higher. I think it came down a little bit recently, as you can kind of tell by the spectrum. But yeah, usually I actually come across, weirdly enough, the gold cart more than the base one.
Me too.
Yeah, I actually saw a gold cart today.
All right, so that is actually it. So that makes 3 points for Justin, 1 point for Dan, nothing for me, which I think is rather unexpected. I was hoping to at least tie you.
Well, I mean, I know we all busted, but you technically got the closest with that one.
Yeah,
it's okay. Them's the breaks. All right. Well, so before you go, Justin, do you want to tell everybody where they can find you and what it is you do?
Absolutely. So I'm Sprooch Retro Hunting. You can find me on YouTube at the same name. You can find me really anywhere as Sprooch on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, even on Twitter. I haven't put anything on there in a while, but I'm there. And I do a lot of conventions in the area. So if you're ever around, say hi. Don't be afraid. I'm one of those YouTubers that I don't feel I'm any different than anybody else. I just do it for fun. And if you ever see anything on my pages that you like, just feel free to reach out. And I love trading and buying and selling. So if there's ever anything you want to get rid of, let me know.
Thanks so much for coming on. This was a lot of fun. This
Absolutely.
is one of my favorite things to talk about in terms of retro gaming. So this was really kind of a dream come true. So it was
awesome.
Cool to meet you, and we hope to have you on again.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Sure.
It was a lot of fun.
All right. Well, at this point in the show, I just want find us and our entire backlog on the podcast listening platform of your choice. So go and listen over there. Check out the rest of the league. Next episode, we have Fire Emblem Path of Radiance coming up as the next entry in our league. I hope it's Path of Radiance. Is it Path of Radiance or Radiant Dawn? I always get mixed up on these.
I think it's Path of Radiance.
Yes. Yep. Radiant Dawn is the Wii game, the Wii follow up. Okay, good. And I like to thank our listeners for hanging out with us this long. And if you are a longtime listener, find the review portion of the app you're listening on. Leave us a quick review. Could be 3 stars, 4 stars, 5 stars, 1 star, whatever it is. Make it honest. Give us some good feedback or make us feel good. It really, really kind of like helps us keep going with this. It's the best way to help the channel currently.
Absolutely.
You might also consider becoming a part of our Discord. Those are our favorite fans, right, Dan?
Oh, absolutely. We have so much fun in the Discord.
Yeah. And you'll get basically access to us all the time. We won't even hit you up for Patreon. So totally free to come over and hang out in our little corner of the internet there.
Yeah, come sit on the couch.
Yeah. We try to get on our what we call the gaming couches, the chats where we play our game for 2 weeks over there, as well as other games. And I just like to mention that our theme music comes from Cubby, unknowingly, maybe. You can head over to his Bandcamp to check out his works. I can tell you if you like chiptunes or kind of mixed up with like dubstep type stuff, head over there. He's got a really good library. And other than that, we are a pretty much self-edited podcast over here. We do all the graphic design and editing ourselves. Pretty talented group of 3 fellas over here, or maybe
Heck
not so
yeah.
much.
We try.
Let us know in the comments either way. But for the time being, we'll see you next week for the league. Game over, Dan?
Game over.
So you didn't think we were going to let you go without telling you what the survey results were from the PlayStation 1 draft. None of us have seen them, by the way. This is our first time pulling them up. And
Yep.
Let's see how much our community disappointed me. So the first question was, who would you spend the weekend with from the based on the PlayStation 1 games and candies and sodas that we drafted? I'm going to go from the worst to the best.
Oh boy, I'm nervous.
Me, I got 0% of the votes.
Really? None?
Yeah, 2025 is the second year in a row I am the gamer with the best taste
What?
in all of existence. That's really what it is. I'm just so
Yikes.
highbrow, you can't even...
See, I wonder if people got confused about the question or not, because I'm wondering if people were picking the better list, or if they were picking based on who they wanted to spend their week or 2 weeks or whatever playing these games with.
Yeah, I honestly think if I was to look at it, it was probably just looking at the list and see what they would actually play.
Right.
I think that's what it is.
Steve got 36.9% of the vote, which means Dan got 63.16%
Wow.
of the vote. And it's worse than that, because if any of you looked at Facebook, where we posted this just kind of out generally to a few of retro gaming communities that we're in, the only responses were for Dan. So
Yeah,
Dan overwhelmingly
it's
apparently had the best picks.
It's my snacks. They're hard carrying me.
I mean, like X4 and Suikoden 2 and Symphony of the Night.
Yeah,
all
Symphony
good
of the Night.
games.
Like, how can you hate on that game? That game's so good.
See, I thought Street Fighter might have pulled people in for me, but I don't know. I think Street Fighter is better than Mortal Kombat, but I don't know.
I just know my Klonoa pick didn't work, and I know who you are that you didn't vote for me.
I know who it is, too.
We'll have to, figure out who he voted for.
The second question, because we decided let's have you settle out some of our old scores, long-standing scores on this show. Who would win in a fight? All power-ups and limitations. Mega Man X, or Samus.
We all know.
Mega Man X takes it with 72% of the vote, and I think that is just wrong.
Wow. Holy moly.
And I tried to phrase the question in a way where we could count the limitations, because we've talked about like the time stopping and stuff, but it's like, yeah, he can only stop time for like 5 seconds though. So he'd have to figure out a way to end her in 5 seconds. And we don't think it's possible
Nova Strike.
in her armor.
Ultimate armor, Nova Strike. Over and over and over.
But I don't think he can Nova Strike when he's using an ability, right? Does he have to be base form to do that?
No, he can use it. He can Nova Strike while that's in effect.
Oh, okay. Anyway, I'm not happy about that one either. Which of these franchises is most known for music? We had Castlevania, Mega Man X, Final Fantasy, and The Legend of Zelda.
Ooh, Legend of Zelda's on there.
I like Zelda music, but Final Fantasy music's goated, man.
Yeah.
Somehow Castlevania came in the lowest, 16%, and I vehemently disagree. I think it's actually my favorite of these.
Yeah, I would think so too.
You're just always on the losing end of these surveys.
Yeah, apparently. Mega Man X and Final Fantasy as a series tied with 26% of the vote. Final Fantasy is crazy to me. I don't understand how that doesn't win. Like,
yeah,
the Orchestra of Tokyo is still playing that stuff.
They have orchestras playing Zelda too,
but not as many, not as often.
I don't know.
Somebody in the comments corroborate that for me. But anyway, somehow The Legend of Zelda takes it.
I told you so.
I really thought these 3 picks were going to beat that entire series.
Just so everybody knows, off camera, we had this conversation, and Don said that Zelda's music is medium. It's okay. It's not great. I said he's wrong, and thank you all for proving me right.
That's funny.
Well, in question 4, we're going to find out who the real winner was. Who's the best host? And might be one of the other two, but Don. But probably Don. It's me. Here we go. I win.
Good job, Don.
You did it.
I did it. Everybody tried really hard to make sure I didn't do it, though. They all voted the only one that wasn't just definitively Don. So I just wanted to say thanks again to our audience for making this happen for us. This is always a good time. And this is kind of a preview of what's to come. So we're going to do a similar style vote for the end of the league. And we can... we'll... Word salad. We're going to do a similar style of vote for the end of the league to determine the winners and who gets the prizes. So when you get that survey, share it with as many people as possible, because we don't mind if you share it with people who have never even heard of us before, or maybe even people that don't like video games. Whatever you got to do to get it done, because my feeling is that the more votes that are in it, the more entertaining it'll be.
100%.
So thanks all, and game over, fellas.
Game over.
Game over.